Lewis was so vocal on the team radio that it was non-negotiable exactly what was happening. He's like, he even spelled it out. He's like, guys, in China, I just let him through because he was on a different strat. He had the softer tires. I didn't want him to burn through the tires. Why did it take them 3.5, 4 laps to figure it out?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Formula One True North, the Canadian Formula One podcast. Here are the boys, Thomas, Drew, I'm Walker, and we are talking Miami. And you know what? I owe Miami an apology because last week we basically just spent the entire time shitting on the race, and the weekend delivered. That's what I think.
The weekend did deliver.
Oddly enough, I don't know. This is gonna be like a new race that kind of. This can be like a new Vegas, which just kind of like tends to throw surprises. I mean, weather helped. Weather always helps. There was some fun stuff happening in the sprint race. The race was good. I know they extended one of the DRS zones. I'm not sure how much of a difference that made, but really quickly, Drew, first thoughts, Miami, go.
Well, I hope that Miami is now a good race because they just signed on until 2041. With Formula One. So that's a big commitment. So if you're going to commit to something like that,
contract.
That's a long time. Like my kids are going to watch the Miami race. I don't even have kids. My wife's not even pregnant. So you know what? If they're going to do a commitment like that, they have to make this entertaining. I did hear murmurs and whispers that they might start doing it as a night race. Also cool. I can get behind that. So don't know if that has to do with the cars, temperatures, tires, track day, any of that kind of stuff. But I'm absolutely here for it. Miami was awesome. I thought it was a good time. Yes, weather helped. Getting a little bit of rain kind of spiced things up. Definitely shook up the order a little bit and, kept the teams and drivers on their toes. And I was here for that. Also, can we talk about the sick Lego lap that the boys did? I think we're going to talk about that at some point in time today because that hit. That was it for me. I'm down.
Yeah, Miami, we all talked shit about it last week. Like there was no tomorrow. It's going to suck. It's going to be boring. And surprisingly, it actually, me and Drew were talking before the podcast. It was a solid, probably like a 7 out of 10 race for sure. The weather helped. It was some good fighting. Ferrari being Ferrari as always. Am I going to be a new fan of Miami? Probably not. Not this time. Maybe I feel like this is going to be a one-off, but in the future, who knows?
Okay, so let's switch gears to the highlight of the race. Let's talk about that Lego driver's parade lap because that might have been the highlight of the season. Forget about the race. Forget about the weekend. That might have been the highlight of the season so far. Whoever came up with that idea, first of all,
brilliant.
On the Lego side, is a marketing genius. That person needs a raise ASAP. But so much fun.
Shout out to like all the people in this Lego factory that had like this hidden place where they put 200,000 pieces per car and did 22 cars, I think they shipped. That's incredible. And it took them like, I don't know, some insane amount, 22,000 hours or some crazy amount of time that these guys put into that, building that brick by brick, and then making it stable enough to drive like 30 kilometers an hour. That's incredible.
And then 7 minutes in, you got like these drivers who are just like being fucking knuckleheads, just like clipping wings, pieces going flying.
But I think that made it all the better. Right? Like the guys were really enjoying themselves, and the fact that they made them like 2-seaters so that both the guys could ride in them. You're right, Walker, like marketing genius, like +1. I'm all the way here for it. They did a great job. And, Lewis Hamilton put it on his personal TikTok account and all that kind of stuff. Like Yuki was live streaming it. Lego hit. You know what I mean? Like I got a buddy Swish from the Track Limits podcast. He got invited down by Lego and he got to do like a whole behind the scenes thing and it looked super, super cool. So yeah, man, I think Lego absolutely slapped out of the park on this one. And the fact that we're talking about it on the podcast means they won. They won.
It was great advertising for, Liberty Media, for Lego, for F1. It was all around. So even if you're not like a F1 fan, seeing that on TV definitely I think would have caught your eye and at least got you somewhat interested. So yeah, it was amazing free advertisement for everyone, essentially.
It's the first time we've ever talked about a driver's parade. It might very well be the last time we ever talk about a driver's parade. But I just think also in a sport like Formula One, where everything is so overly produced and controlled, and you have like media handlers, and you have like all these people around making sure, shit is tight, and then you see, to Drew's point, like these guys live streaming, right, and just like having the time of their lives going 20 kilometers an hour in these like Lego toy cars, and you could just tell like the laughter was cathartic, right? They were all having a great time, and it was nice to see everyone let go.
Lego.
There you
Hey,
have it.
nice to see everybody
There you
let
go.
go.
Lego.
And you know what? Big ups to Crofty too. Did you hear him? He's just like, listen, he was down. He had like a live stream on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and he was talking. He's like, these things are absolutely incredible. Like to see them in person is like, it's a work of art. And he said, lights out and away, Lego. Buddy, Crofty, never change, bro. Don't change for anybody. Crofty, you're an absolute G.
I wonder how much he got paid for that. I wonder if Lego
Nothing.
had
That was
purse.
just like
nothing.
No, man. It was off the cuff, man. He was just being Crofty.
Good for him. Good for Lego. Way to go. I mean, you've got your little car there. Like I put together, anyone watching this car right here, one of like the Technic ones. Like I know this is not a Lego podcast, but like it's a serious piece of kit. And you see like the little pistons going up and down. It's got like an actual like differential that works. They do a good job. It's pretty cool. Do we want to talk about the actual race?
What race?
Sorry, we just covered the race.
Yeah, what do you mean? We did it at 30 kilometers an hour. No, you know what? The race was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. Was it as bad as we thought it was going to be? No, I think that helped out with our expectations. We came in, with a bar so low we could roll over it. But it ended up being a bit of a thing. We got some safety cars. Dudes were banging off the walls. Those concrete barriers on a street track obviously aren't very forgiving. And there was a little bit of strategy that came into play, especially in the sprint race, right? And Ferrari, they've had some serious internal struggles, but also some external struggles. Like that car is just not where it needs to be. Like when you're looking at the grid and you see like they're the 5th fastest car, that's a problem.
Yeah,
like that's no good. Like when you have at least one Williams in front of you at all times during the race and the sprint, that's an issue. Just saying.
Thomas.
Love the race. Like I said, way better than expected. In regards to Ferrari and Drew's point, I correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it? I think Sainz almost wanted to overtake Hamilton like near the end or something. And that when I saw that, it really, I don't know, it really gutted me as a Lewis Hamilton, someone that's cheering for Lewis Hamilton for Ferrari. It gutted me that. It seems like he made the wrong choice. He should have stayed at Mercedes. He went to Ferrari, and now he's struggling so hard. And I feel so bad for him. Plus all the little typical Ferrari shenanigans that happened. I don't think they're going to work it out this year. I think they're going to be probably like 5, 6, 7 teams somewhere in the grid. They're probably waiting till next year for the new regs. I don't see them this year being successful, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari is kind of nowhere right now. They're a little bit of no man's land. And even Leclerc, like he's not even gelling with that car. And given where he left off last year, and I know when we did like our season preview, we all talked about how Ferrari was like one of our favorites coming into it because of how they ended last season. And they've just gotten off on the wrong foot, like everything is just not gelling there. And I feel bad for Lewis, and he made his decision, and I understand that point of view. But at the same time, I think when you're there and you're someone like him, I think you're in it for the challenge as well, right? And is winning all the time nice? Yes. Is kind of persevering and coming through on top probably nicer? Yes. And I think that's maybe what he's waiting for. Whether it's going to be this year, that's doubtful. But you look into 2026, you got new regs, all that stuff. Maybe the skies are a little brighter that way, but they've had a really tough time this year, obviously getting a car to work the way they wanted to. And then you have the strategy, right? They nailed it on Saturday. I think if Lewis could just run sprint races, he'd be fine with that for the year. Like,
sure,
okay,
100%. That's
cool.
where all his points are going to come from.
Let's do it, right? Because he's had some good sprint races, some good results. He made the right call at the right time, or the team made the right call at the right time. And then you come to Sunday and everything just seems to fall apart. Car isn't there. Strategy is questionable in terms of like swapping drivers. I'm curious what your takes were on the whole swapping drivers, whether they should have done it earlier, sooner, or later, anything like that?
I don't even think you need to have a take. Like, Lewis was so vocal on the team radio that it was non-negotiable exactly what was happening. He's like, he even spelled it out. He's like, guys, in China, I just let him through because he was on a different strat. He had the softer tires. I didn't want him to burn through the tires. Why did it take them 3.5, 4 laps to figure it out? And like, by the time, I know that there's a delay by the time we hear the team radio on, public television, that already happened probably 2-3 minutes beforehand, which is a lap and a bit, right? So, but then even still after that, there might have been another lap and a half after that they didn't figure it out. And like, if the car's struggling as is, to have Lewis do that, like, I can imagine how frustrating that would be, right? Like, obviously Lewis's tires were going to fall away from a little bit faster than Charles was, but like, let him through, let him do his thing. And if you got to swap back, you got to swap back. Obviously, that Lewis plays ball. So like, let Charles through or let Lewis through, and Charles will give the place back too. Like, I just don't understand their lack of commitment. And then, they exemplified full commitment the day before, right? Like, we were just talking about the sprint race, and like, it got a little bit wet, and they're like, boom, let's pull in Lewis, put him on the slicks, and let's get doing this, right? And like, he was lapping 3 seconds faster than everybody else, and he put himself in a great place to get a podium. And those are the kind of confident calls that Ferrari needs to be making. And the fact that, they're pulling we're going to get back to you, Lewis. He's not having it. He's having none of it. And I don't blame him. And I can imagine that part being frustrating on top of already having an underperforming car. I just think the two of those together have just kind of like, they've come to the surface very quickly that like the car's struggling, the team's struggling, and both the drivers aren't happy with where they're at. And that's too bad. Because like we said, I had super high hopes for Ferrari. I thought that was the number 2 team going into the season. No problem. I thought Mercedes was going to be 3rd and or 4th, and Red Bull and Mercedes was going to be duking it out for that last podium spot. But no, it is a very definite 4th or 5th place for Ferrari right now.
I don't know how much we could keep beating a dead horse right now that Ferrari is. I mean, we said it so many times, and with their strategies, they're not being confident, they're making the wrong calls. Fire 90% of your staff, that work on the pit lane, because clearly something's not working. And the whole swap, to me, if it needs to be done, fine, but it just seems super, super messy. And, to Drew's point, it took way too long, longer than what it should have been. And every time these mistakes happen, they're looking like a rookie team. Like, these are rookie mistakes. It's not hard to commit and just do it, and it takes them 3-4 times the amount of time to do it compared to other teams. So that boggles my mind at this point. I don't know what's the issue there. Why can't they commit, and why are they doing things the way they're doing? It just boggles my mind.
So I think you guys both make a great point. I think there is an issue with like conviction, with confidence, with making definitive decisions, and as a result, you waste a lot of time. I'm curious who makes that decision, right? Because in situations like that, you are dealing with 2 drivers, 2 engineers. You're looking at, kind of like a bird's eye view of what's happening. Who makes the call? Is that like a Fred Vasseur call? I don't know who else it would be.
Team strategist, isn't there? Like a team strategist who, like, I guess
sure, that's true.
The way I see it is like you have a team strategist, and they would likely, from the way I see it, bring that strategy or the multiple different strategies. Hey, this is what is going to happen. If this is the call that's made, this is what's going to happen if this is the call that's made. I'm assuming, I don't know the intricacies of how these teams, delegate these roles and responsibilities and who makes the final call. But the way I would see it is you'd have a strategist who would look at, 2 or 3 different options that if you played it out this way, this is what's going to happen. Bring them to Freddie Vasseur and be like, pick one. And he might say, hey, which one do you think's best? You're the strat man. And he'd be like, I go with this one. Freddie makes the call. That's how it should be. That's I don't understand where there's a delay unless they're trying to translate it from Italian to French, back to Italian, back to English. That's the only thing. Like, maybe they're trying to type it into Google Translate pretty fast. I don't know what the case is, but there's obviously an issue and it needs to be sorted out. And we've been saying this since we started the podcast. We're well into the 3rd season now. We're multiple episodes per season. Like, we got to be climbing up at 100 episodes. I think 30 or 40 of them we've been talking about Ferrari dumping it here. So they got to figure it out.
I mean, indecision seems to be like their weak point, and I think people are, that's their fault, right? I mean, no one's going to fault them for making a decision and getting it wrong. I mean, you will for a second, but like this consistent behavior pattern that they have of like being indecisive and, you know, saying, let me get back to you, or going through like multiple strategies. You know, they always have option A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like they've, like, it seems like there needs to be some better decision making. Thomas, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, when even the moves are made to, to do what needs to be done, you could even see it on Fred Vasseurs' face, the disappointment when it doesn't plan out the way it works, and that's just, I'm kind of thinking the same way. Fred should also be stepping in and just committing it, but there's some miscommunication happening between the strategies or Fred or the drivers that something's not just clicking. Most of the time, it's not clicking. Other times, as we all have seen, it works phenomenal. And they need to work on that. But for some reason, as long as we've been doing this podcast, they're still having the same issues and they're not improving, which is just mind-boggling to me.
So let's switch to a team who's got seemingly everything figured out, or almost everything figured out. Let's talk about McLaren. And I don't know, they're like, whether you're talking about Lando or Oscar, and we can debate those two another time, but like that team looks like they have their shit figured out. Barring any, driver errors, like that car is just different level, right? It's a little Red Bull-esque of a few years ago in terms of like their dominance and how they're able to gap the field.
Do you know what the difference is though with McLaren? They got two good drivers.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're dominating the podium. It's not just one guy 30 seconds ahead. They're both in the like 10 plus crowd of the seconds ahead that they are. But, I also wanted to point out something too that I noticed after the Grand Prix was done and everybody was heading over to where the trophies and the ceremony thing is all happening with the podium. McLaren looked like they were having fun. Zach Brown has that team. Like they look like they're enjoying themselves. Like I get that, things are serious and all that stuff. And I understand too that it's a lot easier to have fun when you're winning. I totally get that part of it. But just the camaraderie between the drivers and like, I know there has to be some deep-seated animosity between Lando and Oscar at this point. And again, we can cover that in multiple episodes. But when you have the fastest and second fastest driver on the grid, consistently putting that car in the top, it's going to be a walk away from McLaren this season, unless something like dire happens and they fall off catastrophically. I just really don't think that McLaren's going to lose this. Now, do I think that Oscar's got a better shot at winning the championship? I absolutely think so. I really do. And like, I would hate to be Zach Brown in this moment because I don't know when it is a 50-50 coin toss on like who has a different strategy, and because there will be those moments this season where, there's a call they have to make that's going to favor one driver or the other. Do you favor the guy who's put more time in at the team and, has kind of helped them grow to where they need to be? Or do you put it in the guy who's got more points and is more likely to win the championship? That's not a call I'd like to make, but Oscar's doing a great job and so is Lando. So that's a tough bounce, man. I don't know what to say, but to your point, Walker, yeah, McLaren's rocking it this year, and I'm here for it, man. Go papaya.
I don't think we're gonna get tired of seeing McLaren on the podium as much as we got tired of seeing Max, because it's just so different. It's unexpected every weekend. We don't know if it's gonna be Oscar or Orlando, or even maybe someone else is gonna come for the podium. It's just so unpredictable. But McLaren has it. Two great drivers. It's a shame that the same doesn't trickle down to Ferrari. Now, I'm not saying Ferrari doesn't have great drivers, but their team is just, again, on a whole new level, and their way seems way more strict and just not really, I guess, enjoying themselves as much as they should be in a sense. Again, to Drew's point, it's easy to enjoy when you're having fun and when you're winning, but they just seem like they need like a morale or team confidence boost to bring that up. And, it's kind of hard to do when the car doesn't perform and the team is making bad calls. But going back to McLaren, yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Looking forward to more races and them being on the podium as well.
So, two drivers aside, this time last year, we were saying Red Bull is unstoppable. Max is unstoppable. No one's going to catch him. like that car is just leagues ahead of the rest of the field. And turns out it wasn't. Like Max still won, fair enough. Like he still had a fairly decent lead by the end of the season, but it wasn't the dominant car that it was over the first 5 or 6 races, right? And so is there still a chance? So you're saying there's a chance.
What was all this
There's always a
million
chance.
talk? I think
there's always a chance.
I don't know if the immediate effect of Adrian Newey had that much of a thing when Red Bull dumped him last year. Well, it didn't dump him. I think he just left. Well,
Yeah.
he took the bag and went over to Aston Martin where the bigger sack of money was. Let's get real. But I think ultimately, like, you know, there was a lot of controversy and stuff going on with Red Bull last year, and I think it kind of trickled down into the team. But I don't think I have a different aura vibe about McLaren this year than I did about Red Bull.
Yeah.
And Red Bull was also coming off like 3 or 4 back-to-back years of non-negotiable dominance, right? Like it was just that far away, where I think McLaren's kind of coming into their own. And unfortunately, it's just before a reg change, and this could all be for naught, you know, and these guys got to start over again next year, right? So I hope McLaren closes it out this year. Right, like not just the constructors, which they did last year, but I hope one of their drivers does, because I just think that honestly you could pick either one of them and they both deserve it. So
do you want to go over quickly winners and losers for this weekend?
Hell yeah.
All right,
Winner.
Start us off, baby.
Kimi Antonelli. We haven't mentioned him yet. We haven't really talked much about Mercedes, but Kimi Antonelli stealing that pole position was absolutely incredible. That lap that kid put together, I was so excited for him. And to see his dad there and like to be the youngest pole sitter at whatever record he broke at 18 years, 20, whatever. It was just impressive. And, you know, to watch Max and Lando and Oscar go over and give him daps and stuff like that. And, you know, he's so nervous and he doesn't really know what to do on the podium or after winning pole because he's all tangled up in his, you know, communications gear in his hat. You know, it's just like, just watching the innocence, like you get to see how young he is. And I think that exemplifies it because he doesn't know what to do. And I think, you know, with the right mentorship and the right direction, obviously with Mercedes, he's in good hands, but I think he will be a great driver and I hope he sticks around. But that's my winner is Kimi Antonelli. Biggest loser. We haven't talked about this yet. Likely Jack Doohan.
You stole my segue. God damn it! Carry on.
I got a little bit of a different opinion to what you know you Drew or you Walker are gonna say. I think the biggest winner so far, maybe even, would be Lance Stroll. Somehow that kid is getting points, and that's actually mind blowing. The biggest loser would probably be Fernando Alonso, still pointless. So clearly, when Adrian Newey went to Aston, I know it's only been a couple races, but it's not having a good effect for Fernando. But Lance somehow manages to score points and have points. That's shocking to me. And I know, you know, there's way more better drivers out there and worse drivers. You know, we could talk Kick Sauber, we could talk McLaren, but in my eyes, just that's something that caught my eyes. You know, Lance Stroll getting points, that's just mind-boggling.
So I do want to start off by saying, before I give my winners and losers, that Kimi is absolutely adorable. To your point, Drew, like watching him trying to like struggle with his gear and just trying to figure stuff out, and like, you know, you hear these messages where he's just kind of like surprised, or you could tell he's young. He's just friggin' cute. Kid's adorable. I'm really rooting for him. Winners for the weekend for me are Williams. They killed it.
Hell
Sprint
yeah.
race, GP, like they came out and they had a very strong performance. And talking about, you know, the race results and having Carlos kind of right behind Hamilton, kind of chasing him down, but like from quali to the races, like they've put on a really strong performance so far this year, and I like seeing it because they seem like they don't belong where they are right now. You know, you would think maybe like a Racing Bulls would be up there, or maybe an Aston Martin would be up there. Like they are punching way above their weight, and for a team with that kind of budget and those resources to be playing up there with Ferrari and Mercedes and one of the Red Bull cars at least is really, really fun to see. So they're also adorable. I can't wait to see more of them this year. Losers, Thomas, you mentioned Alonso. I'm going to mention Alonso's nemesis, and that is Liam Lawson, because his recovery ride over in the Racing Bulls is not going so well. If this was meant to build confidence, it is doing a terrible, terrible job. Pointless, spun out, kind of, I think he basically crashed into Alonso during the race, caused damage for the car, ruined his position. I don't know where his head's at right now, but that kid needs some help, because he is a loser.
Wow.
That was harsh.
Wow.
Okay, he's my loser, but he's my loser.
He's my loser.
He's my loser. So there's that. So now let's talk about the real loser. This news just dropped like an hour ago. Drew, take us through it.
Momentary, yes.
Moments ago.
Breaking news.
Breaking.
Apparently, Jack Doohan getting the axe. Colapinto's coming in. Now, I'm going to use this as a moment to say, told you so. As soon as Colapinto was passed up by Williams and they chose Sainz, I knew this was going to happen. They had already committed to Doohan. They went a quarter way through the season, or what are we, 6 races into a 24? Yeah, a quarter way through the season. They gave him a shot. Doohan wasn't doing it. He was not doing it.
Okay.
And yeah, Colapinto's in, and I don't blame him. Flavio's just doing what he's doing, letting his fucking chest hairs out, rocking the sunglasses at all times. He's letting it all hang out. And you know what? I think it was unfortunate, but his gap to Gasly is pretty real. He hasn't done anything of note. He hasn't even shown strong driver performances. And we can look at other drivers that perhaps started off with the same 2 left feet and ugly shoes. Let's go with what's that kid's name? The other guy at Racing Bulls.
Hadjar.
I'm just saying he's kind of in the same position, mid-tier car, and he's been doing well. What's the other guy at I'm just absolutely struggling for names today. What's the other guy at Bortoletto? He's been doing okay too. It's nothing crazy, but he's been doing his thing as best he can. And I would say of all 3 of those drivers, Doohan would be the guy I would replace. I think Bortoletto and Hadjar have absolutely done better with whatever car they've been given.
So for the record, Bortoletto still has 0 points on the season.
It's whatever.
Same to Doohan.
He's also in the state. Yeah.
He is also
Stakes Albert also got no points all season, so.
Yeah, but Alpine as a team are really competing with Red Bull at this point for the most fucked up organization, because I feel like they're trying to steal some of that thunder with how they run their organization, because it's not just him that's apparently out. It's the principal was stepping down or moving on or taking on another role, whatever, kind of PR bullshit they were saying.
Yeah, he's gone.
Anyways.
But we had to expect this. Flavio Briatore was coming in. He was just going to cause a ruckus. Any guy that dresses like that to every single race is going to cause mayhem. You can't rock this high fashion stuff. You're not Lewis Hamilton. Who do you think you are?
Am I the only one that thinks these rookie drivers are not being given enough of a chance? All right. So we all Liam is what he is, but we all thought he got a really short leash at Red Bull. Doohan has done what he's been doing, but still, short leash, 6 races in. Is this reasonable? Am I just too soft?
Okay, well then take it this way. Then you see somebody like what Oscar did at McLaren when he was the rookie. Then you see somebody like Kimi Antonelli. You see, that's the thing. They give these rookies that shot, and then they run with it, and you see it. Look at Colapinto, right? Obviously he had his little crash or whatever, and they give these guys some grace, but you have to see that those moments of greatness where they come out. And I don't know, even Hadjar, you know what I mean? You see these moments where he's doing really well and you're like, fuck, this guy could be good. You know what I mean? Obviously he's not in the top contending car, but you see these moments. And I think that's what these guys are looking for. Formula One's fast paced. There's a lot of drivers coming up, and they pulled virtually every good driver out of F2 and put them into a seat this year, which is awesome. But I think that
Mhm.
if you have options, you're going to take them, especially with the Doohan Colapinto issue. Like Colapinto is in my opinion, a way better driver than Doohan. It's a no brainer.
In a perfect world, I wish, rookies at least got a 1 year contract signed deal. Now, obviously, it's not a perfect world, not going to happen. If you're not performing, you're out. It's a cutthroat sport, unfortunately. Though that's the way it is, and teams need to score points. They need to win those races. We need those wins, and once again, if you can't perform, if you're having, whether it's bad luck or whether your team is bad or you can't drive the car properly, you're out. Next guy's in, and it's the harsh reality and the harsh truth. And me personally, I would love to see all these rookies being given a full year contract, just at least to fully, check their abilities and stuff. But it's not feasible. It's not realistic.
So you gave the example of Piastri at McLaren, and I would argue the difference is that this is not McLaren. This is a shitty Alpine car where they are not
Renault engine.
with a shitty Renault engine, and it's just Gasly does his best, and I think he actually extracts quite a bit of relative performance out of that car. But what is the reason you signed Doohan in the off season? Right, because there are other options out there, right?
That's
But
the
you
thing.
chose
Colapinto wasn't an option yet.
okay,
Or
but
was
beyond
it?
Colapinto, there were still options, right? You
Yeah.
had we'll throw Bottas's name in there. You had what's the other guy that was at Haas last
Hulkenberg
year?
or,
Magnussen. You have like these guys that are proven, or you go the rookie route, and unless they see something like absolutely systemic where he is just like a loser and he's never going to perform and he's never going to advance beyond what he is now, maybe then, sure, but I'm not sure, man. I'm just getting soft in my old age.
You got kids, man. Kids make you soft.
I'm just looking out for the kids. I'm just looking, right?
Just saying, buddy. Just saying.
By the way, I had no idea his wifey or girlfriend was Nelson Piquet's daughter. Or
Yeah, Nelson Piquet.
yeah, who
Yeah.
knew? Did you guys know this?
I did.
Yes, so we knew that for a long time.
Yeah.
Who's we? We didn't
Me
know
and
this.
Drew. Me and Drew.
Yes, I did know that. Yes. And everybody on the grid was super pumped that it wasn't a boy because they didn't have to worry about another Max Verstappen. Max Jr. coming through the ranks.
He needs a girl to soften him up. That's what he needs.
That's it.
He's going to inject a little emotion in him. Okay, so what do we got going on next week? We got
Emilia Romagna. Imola.
Say the full name. Full name.
I don't know.
Well, not next week, but 2 weeks.
Yeah. Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. That's all I'm going to give you.
The AWS Gran Premio del Made in Italy della Emilia Romagna 2025 dash race. That was my calendar. Courtesy F1.
Jesus.
That's
a mouthful. Yeah. Who's going to get that tattooed on them?
I like how they have like the Made in Italy sponsor, like in English. It's like whoever owns that trademark is sponsoring. Made in Italy. Anyways, so we got
last year Imola was good though, man. You had Max and Lando scrapping that out. Like they were less than a second apart at the finish line. So I'm here for it, man. Imola's
that was kind of the
first time that we did a podcast and Imola got rained out. Do you remember when they had the floods there? People were going down the paddock and like
wasn't that
kayaks
last year?
and shit.
Oh, that's 2 years ago. Yeah,
that was a couple of years ago, man. Yeah, so I'm here for it, man. I always like it. It's a good race. The fact that you go to Italy twice means you got to have some love there. But it's going to be a big showing for Ferrari. Hopefully they can figure something out because whatever upgrade packages they've been bringing have not been it. Not been it.
Looking forward to the race, but Drew, to your point, I don't think they're going to show up. They talking about Ferrari. I just don't see that, which is unfortunate. And hopefully there's going to be a little bit of weather in the race as well to make things more interesting as well. So looking forward to that race, one of my favorite races, and looking forward to McLaren being on the podium again.
Really? That's one of your favorite races?
Emilia Romagna, yeah, it's one of my.
Yeah, what do you like about it so much?
The location, the track.
Are you going to go? You should go. You're not far from there.
I want to.
And
maybe next year.
Maybe next year. Okay.
Maybe next year. Well, we are still waiting for our official media accreditation from F1 and the FIA. So if anyone there is listening right now, be sure to look us up and give our little application a stamp of approval.
Yeah. Don't just
For the
open the
Canadian
email
Grand
over
Prix.
and over. Like, just do something about it. Say yes, no, gotta go. Like, we're here for you guys. We're gonna show up in a big way. We'll put out live podcasts. We'll do live to air stuff. Like, we're here for it. The turnaround on our media time will be immediate. Let's go.
We
What
will
do you guys?
do whatever you want.
Yes, I will run
Anything.
that track naked if I have to. You got to do what you got to do.
So Juliet, or should I say Juliet, with the Canadian Grand Prix, if you're listening to this,
Please give us media passes.
hit me up. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I'm not
Yeah.
above begging.
No, not at this point. We've been at this a long time, boys. We got a decent little following. We're double what we were doing last year in numbers. So I appreciate the support to everybody out there. Hell yeah.
There you go. You want to shout out the Discord before we sign off?
Of course. The Discord's where it's at. So if you guys are down to chat F1, the link will be in the show notes. But jump in the Discord channel. We got lots of people in there talking F1 all the time. It's a lot of fun. And we got our Instagram, TikTok, socials. You know where to find us. Wherever you're listening to this, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you find your podcast. We're going to be there too. Let's go. We're up there in absolute organic search results now. We are getting some traction, boys. And thank you to everybody who's helped us do it.
So, boys, we'll be back next week. We're going to do like a proper preview of the Emilia Romagna Made in Italy. Hold on. Where is it? Made in Italy della Premio something race. But we'll be here for it. Talking all of it. We're going to say it as many times as possible. We're going to butcher it probably several
We're
times.
We're going to preview Italy.
Tune in next week. Or we could just say that.
Yeah.
There you have it. That's all. So for Drew, Thomas, I'm Walker. This has been the Formula One True North podcast. Ciao for now.
Peace.